Hi everybody, you've got Helen today from Cottage Crochet, and what I'm going to be showing you today is how to do the Celtic weave in the round. We're not going to do it straight, we're going to concentrate on in the round. The project I've got in front of me here is our mixed toffee cowl, and this is currently something that is a crochet along on our Facebook group, which is Sunflower Cottage Crochet Community. If any of you want to join in, feel free. Just make sure you answer the questions, otherwise we can't approve you. But other than that, we're a very relaxed bunch, and this is our first official cowl. As you can see, it's full of texture. I wanted to introduce some stitches that, although recognisable, people may not have necessarily tried. So the next video we'll show you how to do the alpine stitch, which is also a very pretty stitch there for you. Right, okay, so to work on this cowl, I'm actually using Stylecraft Special Aran because I am in the UK. I know a lot of people in America might not be able to get it, but any worsted, number 4 worsted weight yarn will be suitable. So you can see I've worked up to the point where we need to start doing the Celtic weave stitch here. Now what we need to do to start each row is chain 3. And then we need to skip 2 stitches and do a front post treble around the next 2 stitches. So for a treble, we'll wrap our yarn around our hook twice, so we end up with 3 on the hook. Then we miss the next 2 stitches, so we're going to, don't count the chain 3, 1, 2. So then we have this stitch here. Now to do a front post, we need to work around the post. Ordinarily, we would work into the V's on the top. But you can see each stitch is made up of a post, which is the bit that joins the 2 rows together. So we need to go in from the front, pull our hook around the post, yarn over, pull through. So now we have 4 hoops in our hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, 3 hoops left. Yarn over, pull through 2, and once more yarn over and pull through 2. So then we need to do a front post treble in the next stitch. So we've wrapped our yarn twice before we start. Then we go in around the post from the front, yarn over and pull through. And then we yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. Now what we need to do is we need to do our front post trebles in the 2 skipped stitches that we've just done. So we need to yarn over twice, and if you see, we've just worked these 2, so now we need to do those 2, and we'll always start with the one furthest away from the ones that we've worked. So we're working in front, so we literally just bring our hook across the front of your work and around the post. That might be a little bit awkward to start with. It is just practice, and I promise by the time you finish the first round it'll be much easier. And then we do the stitches we did before. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, so we're left with 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we need to do this last stitch that we've skipped. Treble crochet, so we wrap our yarn twice. Just have a look, can you see that one that I haven't worked yet? So we've got 2 on this side, 1 on that side. So we'll just go around the post, wrap our yarn, pull through. So now we've got 4 loops on our hook. Wrap our yarn, pull through 2, wrap our yarn, pull through 2, wrap our yarn, pull through 2. So that's our first section of stitches done. Now we need to repeat that all the way around. So if you just eyeball it, you can see this second stitch, which is the last one as we're looking at it, is attached to this stitch here, this post here. So we need to skip the next two and front post treble in the third stitch along. So we wrap our yarn twice, go through the post, wrap our yarn and pull through, and we complete our treble. And again into the next stitch along. So we need to go around that post from the front round the back and pop the hook out the front again and do our treble. So there's the two. Now we need to go back and work the two that we've just skipped, starting with the one furthest away from where we're currently working. So this one here. Wrapped our yarn twice and we'll go around the post. Remember, we're working in front of our work that we've just done. And I'll show you that one more time. So you can kind of see the textures starting there. So to work this row, we've got front posts around these four. So we skip the next two and we work in the next two. So if I just keep my thumb on that one, I've wrapped my yarn around my hook twice. I've gone around the post from the front to the back and back out the front again to wrap and pull through and complete my treble crochet. And we do that in the next stitch. So we've got two treble crochets, front post treble crochets there. And then we need to go back to these two stitches that we've skipped. We work this one first and then that one. Now remember, we're working it in front, which means we literally bring the yarn and our hook across the front of our project. If a pattern tells you to go behind, you would have to just push those out of the way and push them forward to work the posts. But we're not, we're working in front, which is the easier way to do this at the moment. So then we need to do our front post trebles in the two skipped stitches. So the texture is starting to come out there. And we do that using groups of 4 stitches all the way around. So we're working the next 4. So we skip the next 2 posts and we front post treble around the 3rd. And the 4th. And then we go back and we work the 1st and the 2nd of that set of 4. So the 1st stitch first and the 2nd stitch, and we do that all the way around. So we skip the next 2 posts and we front post treble crochet into the 3rd and the 4th, and then working in front of our yarn we do a front post treble in the 1st stitch that we missed and then in the 2nd. So, oops, 1st stitch, 2nd stitch. So we're going to do that all the way around until we get to the end, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Okay, so I'm on the last set of 4 stitches to work my last lot of Celtic weave. So we need to treble crochet. Remember, we're doing it in sets of 4, so we start with the 3rd and the 4th, and then we go back to the 1st and then work the 2nd. So we need to front post treble crochet in the 3rd post, and in the 4th post, and then we need to go back and do the 1st working in front. So hook across the front of our project, treble crochet in that 1st stitch, and a treble in the 2nd stitch, and then that's our row completed. So what we need to do now is slip stitch into the top of the 1st front post treble, so not the chain 3, the front post treble, and that's our 1st row completed. Now you'll be able to see from this one that what we need to do is actually make it look like it's woven through, so the stitches need to move across ever so slightly to get that effect, otherwise we'd end up with arrowheads. So in order to do that, remember the last row we chained 3, which we'll do again, and then we skipped 2. But for the 2nd row, because we need to start moving these stitches across a little bit and making it look like it's a little bit more fluid, we need to skip 4 stitches. So this first set's our 4, so we need to be working into these 2 front post trebles that are behind these ones here. Again, this might be a little bit awkward at first, but I promise that it'll get easier. So we front post treble there in the 1st one, and we front post treble in the 2nd one. Now in the last round we worked in front of our work, so we brought our hook across the front. However, this time, because we don't want these stitches to stay on the top, we need them to go behind and actually look like they're woven. We need to work behind, so we need to just pull these stitches down a little bit and find the last 2 double crochets. Now this does take, especially at the beginning of the row, it can be a little bit fiddly, but I promise it does get easier. So there's the 1st one and there's the 2nd one. So we'll front post around that one, front post treble, and then we'll front post treble around the one just next to it. So we're still working in groups of 4. We're still working the 3rd one, the 4th one, and then going back and doing the 1st one and the 2nd one. Okay, so we've worked those ones. Now we need to work the next set of 4, which is the 2 that goes behind these ones. You can just see them peeping out there, and the 2 from the front of this section. So we'll front post treble into the 3rd one, and we'll front post treble into the 4th one, and then we need to work behind these 2 and front post treble into these 2 stitches here. So we'll just push that down out of the way, and there's the 2 stitches I need to work. So front post around the 1st one, and then the 2nd one, and that's that section done. and then we do the same with the next lot. So we'll always start our front posts with the 2 that are behind there, and then we'll come back and we'll work behind these ones so they pop out to the front and they cross over at the back. So we do the 3rd one first, and then the 4th one of the set of 4, and then we pop our work forward, and we need to do, oops, sorry, these 2. And then you can see from these ones that it's kind of moving them across and giving it that look of fluidity. So we're going to do that all the way around this row, and then we'll repeat the first round of Celtic weave and we'll repeat the second round, and then you'll be able to see just how awesome it looks. So we need to get the 2 that are just behind, front post, and then front post in the last of the 4, and then go back working behind these ones, just push them down and do the first stitch of the set and the second stitch. And I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, so we've just worked the last set of 4 stitches in that row, and much like the last row, we need to slip stitch to the top of the first front post treble crochet. So we're not slip stitching to the top of the chain 3. All the chain 3 really does is allow your work to stretch for the weave. So then we're going to go back and repeat round 8. The difference with this round is instead of skipping 2 stitches like we did on the first one, we need to skip 4 because we need to make sure that we're creating that weave all the way around. So we'll skip these 4 stitches, which means that because we work in groups of 4, these are the 4 stitches that we're going to be working into. So the first 2 stitches will be worked when we come back around. They'll be part of the last group. So we'll chain 3 and we'll front post treble crochet into these 2 here. So we do the 3rd one first, and then the 4th one of the group of 4 stitches. And then if you remember in round 8 we went in front of our work, so we front post treble across the front on this row, and we work the 2 that are poking behind. And what this does is it just makes these 2 stitches stand on top of the ones that we've already worked. So you can see how that's working now. And then we'll skip these 2 stitches and we'll work front post treble into these 2 stitches. So these are the 4 stitches that we're working into, these 2 behind and these 2 at the front. So we'll front post treble into the 3rd of the 4 stitches and then front post treble into the 4th one. So we've worked those 2, and then we'll front post treble into these 2 which are behind the 2 front posts there. So we're working in front of our work, remember? There we go. And then we'll skip the next 2 stitches, which are these 2 hidden ones behind the front post, and we're going to work these 2 stitches. So we'll front post treble crochet into those ones, and then going in front of our work, we'll pull these ones forward that are currently behind and do the 2 skipped stitches. And because we've done those ones last, it just pulls them on top of your work. So then we skip the 2 stitches that are behind these ones, and we'll work these 2. So front post treble crochet around both stitches, and then working in front, we need to front post treble crochet in these 2 stitches here that we've skipped, and we'll do that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So this is the last stitch. And what we need to do now is slip stitch to the top of the first front post treble that we did in the row. Just a slip stitch, and then we've got one more round of Celtic weave. You can see how beautiful that's looking now. So then we literally repeat round 9. So we chain, skip 4, and we front post treble into the next 2. And then the previous 2 stitches that we skipped, these 2 here, we need to work behind these ones to front post treble into there. So we just need to move that forward and front post treble. So when we're working in the round for the Celtic weave, you do one round where you work in front of your work, and you do another round where you work behind your work. So then we'll skip these 2 stitches, and we front post treble crochet into these 2 stitches here. And then working behind, so we need to take our hook behind the 2 stitches that we've just done. We need to front post treble the previous 2 skipped stitches, and we do that all the way around this row so that we get that effect. And when we get to the end of the round, slip stitch to the top of your first front post treble crochet, not the chain 3. And that is all there is to it. So we skip 2, front post treble crochet around the next 2, and then we work behind on this round. And front post treble crochet into around the 2 skipped stitches. And I do hope that you found this tutorial interesting today. If you have, please feel free to give us the thumbs up. And our next tutorial will be on the alpine stitch, which is also in this cowl, which will be the next section in our cowl. And once you've finished the Celtic weave section, this is what it looks like. So I do hope you've managed. For those of you that are doing the cowl with us in our community group, if you have any problems with it, please feel free to get in touch with us, and somebody will help you out. Speak to you soon. Bye.